grabbing some good damage there. The second bomb's about to blow. Sunday getting himself away for now. Lyra's going to be taking up a lot of damage. The ulti coming out from Sunday. He's going to make this here. You got both! Sunday! You still have Lyra's ultimate. You still have Damonte's ultimate. Damonte goes in for a massive multi-man taunt! And Echo Fox is out of there!
Welcome everyone to Esports in 30. I'm Lisa Doan and this is Matt Hempstead. And yes, today is still League of Legends Day. MSI is now done and the LCS is only 1 week away, so there's still a lot to cover. Yes. Matt, what are some of the things that we are going to be talking about?
Well, we have to touch on all of these roster moves because going into the summer split, teams have been trying to shake things up. The teams that didn't perform so well got to make some moves to try to bolster their roster and get ready for summer split so they can maybe compete against the top 3 in NA. Team Liquid, TSM, Cloud9, all really strong in spring. So can anyone make a move big enough to actually compete with those teams?
Can they?
Probably not. But we're going to talk about them anyways, so we're going to get into it with Locodoco in a bit.
Awesome. So right before we call up Locodoco, there are some players that are changing their uniforms for the summer split. So let's take a look at some of the roster shakeups.
Predators coming out. Broxah trying to buy a little time, wants to disrupt as much as possible. Going thrown into the gangplank. They want to get a little bit more damage down as he can be able to nom on him. Doesn't quite have it. Now walking away, but the Chachi is still alive. Suppressed and pulled back. Amazing the bodyguard. He says not today.
Amazing is playing beautifully right now.
The opportunity, but 1v1 here on the bottom side.
Ruin uses the stopwatch, tries to get his rotation back up, lands the stun on Zeros and just takes him out.
Forward, Ruin is going to be locked up in Hextech ultimatum. Trashing on the way. Allure has been proc, just looking for the hate spike. Flash forward, that's the charm, bringing him back out of that tower range. Goes golden. Freeze frame, baby, but you're still going down. No! Yes! Hook shot, unstoppable! Outplay! Oh, God, that's disgusting!
It looks like Hansama might be going towards a QSS, which would make a lot of sense. There is a charm here onto Maxwell. Double knock up. Yana just absolutely melting through the opposition. Ignar's going to fall as well. Wadid picks up the kill in the supportal combat.
Oh, good reaction there. Ash almost catching ground.
Oh, you can't dodge that though. Wadid hits it. The paranoid comes out as well and immediately Crouch's dead.
TSM trying to defend as much as he can, but Nexus under fire. The big turret will do the work, and G2 will take down the Afrika Freaks. It looked like the coast was clear. Coast is not clear. The bottom lane, and Doan gets deleted by a rocket barrage. Yarnin on that Heimerdinger.
Ryu will try to claw, but he has to go through Zhonya's first, and he can't get out. Meanwhile, Trick flashing, slapping. Phoenix Form finishes the job though, and he's all over Yellow.
He's so
double kill. Absolutely massive here.
Wants to redeem himself. Selfie pushing in. Ruin gonna get down and straight in. Targus wants to bring it home. I don't know if he can. Are you kidding me? Who is gonna end the game? Targus wants to bring it in. Ruin goes down. What is this? Oh my God, H2K, that is fucking beautiful! Selfie, one man. Take your hands off the keyboard, bud. You don't even need it. You bring it home. H2K!
Lots of interesting roster moves for us to break down. So to help us sift through all of them, who better to join us than Locodoco? How's it going?
Hi Lisa. Hi Matt. How are you guys doing?
We're good. We're so excited to have you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm not as excited to be here. I'm excited to see Matt.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Okay, relax, guys. All right, let's move on to actual league discussion and start with 100 Thieves because we all know how disappointing this team was in spring. They picked up Amazing to be their starting jungler. So what do you think about the addition of Amazing to this team?
So they can't get worse. They finished 10th, and what Amazing brings is structure. Every team he's been on, he's been a good shot calling system for the team, and he's made sure that team has had a baseline that's not 10th place. So I do think he's a good fit for the team. It's not super sexy, and it's not something that's going to immediately put this team in championship contention, because that's kind of what 100 Thieves teams are expecting, or 100 Thieves fan base is expecting from last year, but that's not the reality of the team right now. So considering all the external things, Amazing is a great fit for the team right now.
It's interesting you bring up shot calling though, because when you think of this team, you're like Afro is supposed to be the shot caller.
Yeah, they've already got some shot calling people on that team, but I guess Afro being one voice might not be enough, so they'll bring in another point of view perhaps.
Do you think it's better to have more than like one kind of shot caller role?
Especially when the shot caller is, or it's more so on the jungler from last year was extremely quiet and not great at skirmishes. So there was a huge hole on the team that needed to be filled, and that's why Amazing's coming in. So yes, shot calling part matters, but also Onda's performance in LCS was not quite up to par last year.
Right.
So it is a big part.
That's not the only move they made too, because they also let go of Huhi.
Yes.
And there was a lot of talk about that, and they played with Soligo a little bit at the end of last split, but now he's going to be their full-time guy. So do you think we saw enough from him to actually warrant this move to a full-time position, or should they have looked somewhere else for like a mid laner?
So, due to their import situation with Someday and Bang being imports, and them not having a mid lane that's an import, or it not being possible for them not to have a, oh my god, holy, today's off day. Due to the import situation, they need a North American mid laner. And when you're looking for a North American mid laner, like you're looking at, like, don't tell me Bjergsen, he's not leaving TSM. Don't tell me Pobelter, he's not leaving Flyquest. Like, you're looking at someone like Insanity, someone like Golden Glue, someone like Huhi.
Right.
So you are looking at these academy level, the top tier academy guys are some of the older guys that have fallen off a bit. Whereas Soligo isn't the best mid laner in LCS. He has a lot of potential to grow, and he's also someone from their own org, so they have a lot of information on and they can put trust behind. So that's why I think he got picked up for that team.
Okay.
Have to wait and see, but yeah, I mean, in his limited time last split, obviously the team wasn't doing so hot, so it's hard to judge his performance. But maybe with a full, scrim time and a full off season to prep, he'll do a little better. So we'll see.
So I guess overall for this team, Loco, what is your impression? Do you feel like with this kind of talent on this team, do you think they can make it mid-pack, maybe at the top 3? Like, where are you feeling?
Oh, top 3 is a tall order.
You gotta be ambitious here. It's 100 Thieves. You gotta be ambitious, right?
Yeah, but I'm not telling you to be an astronaut tomorrow. That's just unrealistic. So, I think the high end of this team is them making playoff, and low end of this team is probably 9th or 8th again. Yeah, so I think a good goal for this team to have is to make playoffs. They did have incredibly good players, but they finished 10th, so that probably won't happen again. But to find footing in North America and to go from like 10th to like contention or even top 3 is nearly impossible. So yeah, I would say I'd be happy if this team made playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, any improvement would be a welcome sight, but it was just so weird because we thought that they would be, up there in the top of the standings last season, and it did not pan out. Another team struggling, CLG, and we saw one of their mainstays actually leave the team in Darshan in favor of Ruin. Before we touch on Ruin, though, let's talk Darshan for a bit. I mean, he's been a part of this team since 2014, so do you think this was the right time to let him go?
No, the right time to let him go was before spring started. Like, you're making a roster change. If your team is making a roster change after spring, something went wrong. Like, someone messed up. Because, yeah, it's so hard to get a good player between spring and summer.
Right.
Just due to how League of Legends contracts work, and none of the players are really available during the middle of the season. So I think they got really lucky by being able to pick up Ruin.
I feel like the top lane talent has been, it's strong. There's a lot of great top laners in NA. So with Darshan in particular, we've seen him in the past on CLG. They've reached that pinnacle, right?
Yep.
But since then, it's kind of been more of a decline. So as a player, what do you think about Darshan?
As a player, Darshan hasn't been the greatest. If we talk more about Darshan as a player, I don't have the nicest thing to say.
Are you surprised he hasn't found a new home yet? I mean, obviously it's pretty quick turnover, and he kind of got a little bit shafted since it's the mid-season, and it's tough to find a new home right now. But do you think that he might find some playing time as we approach the season and going into summer?
So I don't think he's currently on any LCS rosters, but teams haven't confirmed their academy rosters yet, so there is potential that he's on an academy roster. I mean, if he's not on an academy roster, I guess he'll probably stream, but he hasn't announced that either. So my guess is he made it onto an academy roster, and they just haven't announced yet. We'll have to see.
Okay. Let's talk about his replacement then, Ruin.
Yeah, exciting.
So he was a standout member on 1907 Fenerbahce, and he also had some experience on Giants Gaming in Europe. So how much of an upgrade do you think Ruin is over Darshan, and how will this affect CLG?
Darshan was one of the worst top laners in the league during his exit. So I don't think Ruin will be one of the worst top laners in the league, so it will definitely be an upgrade. But CLG overall has a team, had problems other than Darshan, so he's not just going to come in and fix everything. It is a step in the right direction, but I know I talked about expectations with 100 Thieves. Like, there are expectations for CLG. It might be very, very low at the moment, but there are still some CLG fans that think they are as good as TSM. Why can't we be as good as TL, C9? We are one of the old school orgs. So yeah, there is definitely there definitely
Faith
is
Age,
some
guys.
expectation there.
Remember those days of Faith Age? Everyone was so hyped for them.
I was a CLG fan back then.
I was a CLG fan too. Well, we know where Loco stands.
Yeah.
He's against CLG always.
I just happened to play or coach for teams that were big rivals with CLG. I have no ill will towards them. It's just they're garbage work.
No ill will,
classic
but
Loco.
you know, they're
Classic
garbage.
Loco.
One more move we want to talk about in the LCS. There was a kind of an under-the-table trade that happened between Flyquest and Rogue over in the LEC, and Wadid was brought over to Flyquest, who's going to replace JJ, which is kind of surprising because a lot of people were pretty high on this guy. So what do you think of the move, and how will this Wild Turtle Wadid duo perform, do you think?
So I'm very confused by the move also because JJ was probably 4th or 5th best support. So he wasn't the bottom half. He didn't need to be replaced, and he's on the younger side, and I would imagine his contract to be really good. The only reason I could think of them needing Wadid over JJ is having his wrist problems again, and they need someone that can play full time. But yeah, this is a weird side grade / a downgrade that also comes with an import slot and is going to be significantly more expensive than JJ, because JJ used to be an academy player that's homegrown from Flyquest, so I would imagine he's not on some kind of a monster contract. So yeah, weird move overall for me.
Flyquest was also doing really well, right, in the last season, so it's interesting that they decided to make this change right before summer.
Must be something going on behind the scenes. If it's a wrist injury, that sounds like it might be right.
Yeah?
So, yeah.
All right. So just to summarize, I guess, NA a little bit, going into this summer season, Loco, how do you see it playing out? Who are the top teams that you predict?
Don't expect any changes from the top. Team Liquid, C9, TSM still hold so much of the North American talent. Like, you can buy good imports, but you can't buy good North American talent. And TL, C9, and TSM has almost all of them. So I don't see any kind of shift up in the top 3. Maybe TSM or Cloud9 can be placed above TL in the end of the season, like, due to things happening. But I just don't see the 3 top teams dipping below the top 3.
Do you like that? Do you like how it's so like consistent and predictable, or would you prefer something more, I guess, like, you know, more exciting?
I mean, for me, I think it's always nice to have a little bit of a shake-up and not just expect it to be the top teams. But at the end of the day, if there's always a team that's performing above everyone else, then it's pretty exciting to be like, can anyone actually take down the giants that is Team Liquid? And I guess, I don't know, it's tough. It's a tough question to answer.
All right.
For me, quality League of Legends itself is exciting. I don't need anything more.
Right.
But I will say teams and placements in the summer never go the way like people just think of it. Even though as an expert, I'll say like the top 3 will remain the top 3, I wouldn't put any of my own money on it.
You won't put any money on it. Not a gambling guy.
I was like, that's a safe bet. Yeah, I wouldn't put too much money on it either.
Damn it. All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the LEC a bit, because the most intriguing move is probably Schalke's decision to bring Trick back to Europe as their starting jungler. So, Loco, does Trick, do you think, have what it takes to still be one of the best, players in Europe?
I have no idea what he was doing in Korea. Maybe he was just solo queuing. I knew he was in BBQ, but he wasn't on BBQ anymore. So yeah, I actually have no idea how Trick was doing or how well he was playing in Korea. I just know Memento was an awful fit for that team.
Yeah.
Just the duo of Memento Abadage wasn't working out at all. And they must believe more in Abadage than Memento. And Abadage is a rookie, so I see why. So yeah, a lot of these roster moves that we're talking about, they're not incredibly sexy. They're just functional and practical and slight upgrades over pieces they already had.
Yeah, I mean, Trick also spent some time in the TCL on Galacticos. Yeah, I know. No one ever knew this.
He lost?
He went from BBQ to Turkey for a bit, and now he's back. But I mean, when he was in EU with G2, he was a 2-time world attendee, right?
Yeah.
So obviously he's got some talent. But when the LEC first shifted to franchising and rosters were being built, another G2 guy that a lot of people were surprised wasn't on a team was Hjarnan. And now all of a sudden he got picked up by Excel. That's very exciting, right, Loco? Isn't that a great signing for Excel? Very excited about this one.
Not at all. Like, I mean, there's the whole Hjarnan Kasing reunion, and then they also picked up Mickey. I just don't believe in that roster. One of my friends, D Lim, is coaching it. Shout out to David Lim. But yeah, I just can't see this roster doing well with Mickey, Hjarnan, Kasing. It just doesn't scream like top tier roster. I don't think Excel's gonna make playoffs.
Why was Hjarnan a guy that was so neglected, do you think, going into 2019? Because, again, he was someone who's constantly shown that he's consistent, but no one picked him up. Instead, they favored some young guys instead.
I was shocked that Hjarnan didn't find the team. I'm not his biggest fan, but I also don't think he's the 11th best AD carry in Europe. He's definitely top 10. So sometimes players ask for too much in salary. Sometimes they just suck at negotiating. Sometimes people just make the wrong choices. I have no idea why a European team didn't pick up Hjarnan in the spring, but at least he's on a team now.
Yeah,
that's true. Always we're such an optimist all of a sudden, Loco. What the heck? You've changed.
We'll get some more pessimism from him a little bit later.
All right, okay. Now that we've recapped all of the roster moves heading into the summer split, it's time to get ready for the return of the LCS. We're just 1 week away, but before we talk about it, let's check out some of the best plays from the spring split.
Froggen moves forward, throws Viper back. Viper flashing out of the way of the Urgot ultimate, keeping himself safe for now.
Leo's behind.
Redemption coming down, but Pobelter's looking to make his way behind. Here comes the flank, here comes the taunt. Here comes the team fight. You still have Lyra's ultimate, you still have Damonte's ultimate. Damonte goes in for a massive multi-man taunt, and Echo Fox is out of there. Grabbing some good damage there. The second bomb's about to blow. Sunday getting himself away for now. Lyra's going to be taking up a lot of damage. The ulti coming out from Sunday. He's going to make this. He got both! Still can't see what's going on. When can they pull the trigger? Sneaky trying to make something happen, trying to get Baron to aggro and reveal himself over the wall. Are you kidding me? The Baron picked up by Cloud9. Viper and Pobelter trying to keep everybody away. Baron down to about 4K. Turtle looking to find the killing Smith. He's out. Flyquest could likely secure the Baron here for themselves. Impact trying to go in, keep them away from this one if he can. Baron going to be taken down with that. Taken out. Flyquest are right back in this game. In goes the cannon, looks for turning it around, but not just yet. Viper is online for the double kill. Looks for number 3, can't find it just yet, but he might get it there. That 3 for Viper in his first playoffs. He's already won 1 series, looking for another, looking for kill number 4. They found the stun, and it is a quadra kill for Aurelia, and the 5th is picked up. Ultimate keeps him alive for now. A lot of damage on Cloud9, and here comes your janitor, baby. Mop and bucket at the ready. It's Bjergsen on cleanup duty. Svenskera's gonna be taken low. Sneaky's gonna be taken down. Zazel drops next. Svenskera with the flash away, but Bjergsen is spinning that combo all the way around. No knockup yet, Sven gets away. 2 for 1, Team Liquid make it 2 for 2 overall. A 3rd kill now for TL. A 3rd one comes back for TS. Simon's Corridor shows up, but only to run away. 2v2 left on the map. They gotta get away from this one. He's got the sleep. Triple for Bjergsen. But here comes Kennen. He's gonna find one. The knockup should be a 2nd. Team Liquid do win the fight. Now Broken Blade has to run, or will it be a re-engage? The health, the impunity. What a play for the new top laner. Broken Blade must carry like he did in game 1. Tries to find double it. Here comes Galio as well. A knockup only onto the tank though. Acadian QSS out. Broken Blade at half HP. There's a big top, but double it is safe. He's still surviving. It's 2 kills. Team Liquid. I do believe they've done it. Look at the kills coming through. It's Sven sitting alone inside his base. Bjergsen's gonna fall. The rest of his team is gone. Team Liquid tie the record. It's 3 LCS titles in a row. They are the super team.
The legend of Team Liquid continued to grow as they won the spring split and then made North America proud at MSI. Loco, Team Liquid is no doubt coming back as the favorites in summer, like you mentioned. What do you think they need to do to make sure that they stay on top?
Do the exact same thing they did last split and win a lot of League of Legends games.
Oh, such a simple. Okay, but look at looking at Team Liquid, everyone always says, you know, their thing is the protect the AD carry comp, right? Do you think that is dynamic enough that other teams won't exploit that?
It honestly isn't that dynamic enough, but NA teams haven't been that great about exposing Team Liquid. I do think TL performed incredibly well, and they won by the skin of their teeth last split. So they will be challenged the same way by Cloud9 and TSM, but no other team can really challenge them the same way. So I think they'll be fine for the most of it. And they did show they can play around Jensen a little bit at MSI. I still don't think Impact can play the true carries of the meta, and his best carry champions are Kennen and GP, one of the more independent resource-free carries. So yes, they are limited in their style, but it won't matter that much in NA, and they are still an incredibly strong team.
So since they're limited in North America, don't you think they should maybe try to expand in summer, even though they might not finish first, if they experiment more and try to work on a different
Especially
playstyle?
if they want to do well at Worlds too, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to always stick with one plan, because then
at
at
MSI,
Worlds...
they had the one playstyle, and
Yes.
it kind of showed after a while, right?
Yeah.
So teams, I'll tell you a secret. Teams will cry and teams will yell at the top of their lungs like how much they want to do well internationally, but what matters most is actually doing well in LCS due to sponsorships and also just having championships on your team. So yes, doing well at Worlds will matter for Team Liquid, but if it means sacrificing a split of NA and not doing well in NA, they won't do it. I just don't think Impact will expand to play these carries. He's not that player. He hasn't been a very resource-heavy player, so it's just TL has to go so much out of their way to try to make it happen, and they already have such a good thing going. I just don't see them changing.
You can't sacrifice that Jersey Mike sponsorship. Really important, you know.
Don't change it unless if it's not broken, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of how it's working. Let's talk about TSM, because TSM was one game away from taking out Team Liquid in the finals. So how does TSM take the next step and get back their North American throne?
So they've been scrimming, and they will have both Grig and Acadian start according to their announcement yesterday. So I think that's a good direction for TSM. Grig is an incredibly strong player, and I think Acadian did a great job filling in for him, but eventually we're going to see Grig take over the starting spot and really take TSM to another level.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen teams kind of dabble with this duo jungler system in the past. I mean, Optic still does a little bit with Dardog and Meteos. How difficult do you think it'll be for TSM to go back and forth between these two junglers?
I think at the start it's going to be a little awkward, but one player is going to rise above the other one, and I think easily it's going to be Grig. I just have a lot of faith in Grig.
Aww,
Interesting.
Feels bad for Acadian because he's done so well.
He did really well for TSM, so it's going to be...
Right, this is life.
This is life.
This is not a Disney movie, Lisa. The better player plays.
Fine, all right, let's
Fair
move
enough.
on to Cloud9. Cloud9 is the other team in the discussion for winning the Summer Split. What changes do you think Cloud9 need to make so that they can overcome TSM and Team Liquid?
Draft correct champions in important games. I mean, that's something they didn't do last split, so hopefully they'll do it this split. I have a lot of trust in Reaper also to kind of learn from the mistakes of last split. I think Cloud9 still has an incredibly strong roster. The only thing you can really fault them for is Niski being inexperienced and sometimes bot lane being weak in lane, but other than that, Cloud9 is such a well-rounded team. I just don't see them struggling at all in summer, and they're a team, when it comes to crunch time, they usually deliver. I was shocked by their results in spring when they were up 2 games and then got swept by TSM. I just don't see anything like that happening for them in summer.
I mean, G2 had a lot of success with creativity and picking weird things at MSI, and that's kind of what Cloud9 does in North America. So do you think maybe they've gone too far, or do you think they should just dial it back and kind of focus on meta?
Yes, they do pick weird things, and weird things do help you when you already have a solid basis. They were just picking such uncharacteristic champions for the team itself during crunch moments, like them picking Orm for Licorice, not giving him carries, and also and some of the key members just underperforming in key moments were the bigger problems. Like, yes, they'll do their weird picks again and it'll help them, but it can't be the core of your strategy. Like, G2 isn't a great team because they have weird picks. They're a great team with weird picks that takes them to another level.
You need both. You can't just have one. You need both.
Yeah, you can't cheese your way to the top, apparently.
Apparently not. Tons of unicorns of love back in the day.
Oh, good times. I know you mentioned it before that the top 3 seem pretty standard, but which team do you think in the NALCS has the most upset potential to kind of break into the top 3, perhaps?
Golden Guardians. I think Golden Guardians are an incredibly dangerous team.
Oh, wow.
started out the split very, very shaky. They started 0-4, I think, and they still ended up somewhere like 4th or 5th in the standings. So they had an incredibly strong second half of the split. Froggen is just a monster. You just play around this guy and he will carry your team to the promised lands. And now that they kind of have their identity more figured out, I think they'll be more than capable of taking down any of the top 3 teams.
There's one other team I want to touch on before we let you go, Loco, and that's Clutch Gaming, because it looks like they're putting Cody's son back in over Piglet. So would you consider this an upgrade, and what do you think of their decision to go back to Cody's son?
Like, what is this team doing with their management? So they were posting pictures of Cody and posting it without Piglet of like the entire roster, without making a roster announcement. And then like recently, I think they did. I'm still not 100% sure if they made official announcement. It's just such a weird move, like from them to build the whole team around Piglet in spring and then let him go completely in summer. So yeah, I don't know what's happening with this team.
That's me too. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, what's Clutch Gaming?
Cowboys, apparently. Do you see them on social media?
Yeah.
They're always wearing Cowboys.
It's a little weird, yeah.
I guess they're focusing more on their social game than, their roster. Well, aside from Summer Split, there's also Rift Rivals, very important tournament coming up shortly. Yeah. So Perks of G2 actually came out and said that he wants Riot to remove Rift Rivals. So what's your stance on the tournament?
So for the team that has to travel, or for the reason that has to travel, which is going to be Europe this year, it is incredibly rough on them. You have to travel in the middle of the split. You kind of mess up your own practice. And also, Summer Split is incredibly competitive and incredibly important. I don't want to go to some random ass tournament and prep for teams like where it has no kind of significance on us going to Worlds and us doing well in Summer Split. So it can be definitely a takeaway of a tournament. So yeah, it's a really weird time to have the tournament in middle of Summer Split.
The timing really makes no sense.
Maybe we smack it with, like All-Stars, right? Like before they used to do that kind of rivalry stuff in All-Stars. So maybe Riot.
It should be. If they want to test the NAEU after. Not in between.
All right, Loco. Sadly, we're out of time, but thank you so much for getting us ready for the LCS Summer Split.
All right, no problem. Was glad to be here.
All right, Matt. So we normally do a player of the week, but there were no games, so we can't do that. So why don't you instead give us maybe a player to watch for the next season?
I'm going to give you 2, Lisa, because there's 2 people who are kind of intriguing to me right now after what we saw in the roster move period. First, I'm going to go with Power of Evil. It's a second split now with CLG, and they just brought in Ruin to replace Darshan, and I think that might give him a little more room in the mid lane to actually, do his thing, roam around, and try to get pressure somewhere else. If Ruin's actually winning lane instead of constantly getting pushed in and losing like Darshan was at times, then I think it lets Power of Evil just have so much more freedom in the mid lane to let him be dangerous and try to take over like he used to do back in Europe.
Fan, huh?
Sure, yes, Lisa, that's right. Another CLG guy, Afro Move, previously CLG. I mean, obviously got a lot of flack last season with 100 Thieves, and now you bring in Amazing, who might be able to take some of that leadership away from him so he can focus on his play instead of being the main shot caller. Because we saw at times he was kind of segregated from his team in terms of playstyle, right? He was constantly going for something and his team didn't follow. Whether that's communication issues or what, I don't know, but they've had another off-season now to kind of prepare for it. And with Bang someday, the team is too talented to just come in 10th again, right?
That's what we thought.
So you think so? And if this split doesn't go well, then Afromove's probably gonna have to answer for it, and he's gonna be looking for a new team going into 2010 or 2020.
20? Oh my God, that's so far away.
I know, I didn't know what to say.
Weird. All right, there you have it. So a 2-for-1 player to watch for the next season. And just like that, LCS is back this upcoming weekend, so make sure you tune into that. And if you're feeling the basketball hype after the Toronto Raptors made the NBA Finals, join us tomorrow as we bring you an NBA 2K mid-season recap. Until then, hit us up on all our socials at Squad State, and we'll see you tomorrow.